Okay, we're talking about Doctor Who, the first half of this season. Season 5? Seven? And we have here Vernon Hill, Jeff Zyra, and I am Ken Parker. And we're going to talk about the 5 episodes that have aired already and try to figure out if they were any good and maybe potentially look ahead and see what's going to be happening. Although it looks like it's kind of like a clean break. There's no big cliffhangers or anything. So it's kind of like we're going to reset kind of a little bit with a new companion and everything. So I guess we could start with Asylum of the Daleks. What did people think of that story?
I thought the story was okay. I thought it was... Even though there was the gimmick of all the Daleks and the new companion playing a different role, I thought the story was halfway decent.
Well, that was a big surprise. It wasn't really a gimmick. It was, it's good to see that because in this day and age, so many people know everything that's going on about the show ahead of time. That was totally out of left field where she showed up, and I bet everyone was just like, "What?"
I couldn't believe they kept it a surprise and it didn't leak out.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. But obviously that is a connection to how does that connect it to the companion that we're going to see in the Christmas special and later on, and who knows? It could be the same character, it could be a relative, it could be a totally different character. Is there a connection? Who knows? But that was...
I don't think there will be because the Doctor never sees what she looked like. All he saw was a Dalek shell. He didn't see what was inside. Well,
that defends more of a reason why there would be a connection, because he never saw her. So when he meets her as a companion, he never will know that it's...
But wouldn't she know who he was? Because it's obviously in her future. And it would probably be after he was with her.
Maybe when you get turned into the Dalek, you lose that memory or something. I don't know. And she had too much of a kind of like a personality anyways, but story-wise, I thought it was halfway decent. I thought that was a really good start to the season.
I thought it was a good start, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, good.
The question about how the new companion's going to tie in would be interesting. I don't know. There's so many different ways, directions they can go in.
Yeah, and I know there's a theory out there that I haven't really thought about too much, was these episodes from this season, we've actually watched them in reverse chronological order. Have you heard that? Where it was like, I don't remember it's almost
he's going back in their time after Angels Take Manhattan, and he tried to have a couple of last adventures because he knows what happens.
Maybe, but I got the impression from Angels Take Manhattan that he was never going to see them again because he couldn't, because they were fixed. But
right.
At least he couldn't change what had happened to them. But I don't know where that... I can't remember why that theory was there, but there was people online who were coming up with all these arguments saying, well, wait a minute, this. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe. That's kind of a neat little thing, but... Does that really matter now? Is that going to be relevant to the future? Unless they come back again or whatever, which we hope not. But
well, they're dead now, so...
Okay, good.
Well, if they did it in reverse, then maybe her fate is they're just foreshadowing her fate.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't... Yeah. Well, you talk about the new companion?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. They were...
But he's done that before. Moffat has done that before because we know the fate of Riversong.
Yeah.
He's rehashing another thing. He's already done that before.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking that it's not. It just seems odd to me that they would have cast her as a different person entirely, unless he was doing it on purpose to screw
I think he's
with
doing
everyone.
it on purpose to screw everyone as a red herring and have more people talking about it because it was such a weak first half of this season. Which takes us to the next story, which really stunk.
Which was that? Dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs on a spaceship.
I have not been a big fan of Doctor Who in the last several years. I've always been critical of it during the Russell T Davies era, but it always managed to have 3 or 4 or 5 really good episodes mixed in with a bunch of horrible episodes. And is there an earthquake? And Stephen Moffat has managed to make a series, in my opinion, that has 1 or 2 really good episodes, usually written by someone else, and he doesn't.
Yeah, like.
But when I saw the trailer for Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, I was actually very interested in it until I saw him riding a dinosaur, and I said, I hate that. I hate when it's silly like that. I hate when it's you would never see. Well, I shouldn't say you would never see John Pertwee riding a dinosaur, but it would be serious. It would be trying to be serious, and
It couldn't be serious, though.
it probably couldn't be, but now they're trying to be silly, and maybe that's the whole point of the new Doctor Who series is we're not going to try to make this a serious show. We're going to poke fun at the whole series and have the Doctor just absolutely love being surrounded by people getting killed, whereas he never did that in the original. He was kind of serious, but we enjoyed the show, but now we're told to enjoy the show because the Doctor and his companions enjoy riding dinosaurs. But the dinosaurs, that part was silly, and
The whole episode was stupid. What was the point of it? Some guy who's like dying because the dinosaurs got him, and he killed all the Silurians. Why? Who? You know, it's just like.
I actually don't remember much of it because usually when I'm so far disconnected from the show recently that I'm waiting to. I got Asylum of the Daleks. I really got engaged in that, and I love when Stephen Moffat puts these twists in, like the girl's caught, and then we find out she's a Dalek. That's the type of thing that we see in the past with like the girl in the fireplace. There's always that reveal, and this time, yeah, and it almost makes the show. It's amazing how a child cannot play a certain toy for months, and then all of a sudden she decides to play with the toy when I'm recording. But anyways. So,
Wouldn't be the first.
The one thing about this episode, though, is, he lets the guy die.
yeah.
Yeah, he lets his ship blow up.
Right. I don't know.
But they never.
We were getting ahead of ourselves, but there has been talk too that it's going to be because of what happens to Rory and Amy. It's going to be maybe a slightly darker Doctor going forward. Maybe that's a glimpse of what's coming.
Yeah. I think they've been alluding to that for a while, and they've always, in the past, well, I guess they did it in the past a little bit too with Sylvester McCoy's Doctor. They were trying to make him more of a dark Doctor, but
Why weren't they more afraid of the dinosaurs?
because they wanted to ride them, because dinosaurs
Because
are
it's in
fun.
the script.
Dinosaurs
you
are
see
cool.
the dinosaurs, you're like, oh wow, look, dinosaurs, and it's like, and you have an Egyptian woman and a big game hunter, and they're not like, like
That was a little much.
they're fit right. Oh, we're on a spaceship. Oh, okay.
There was a assembly of all these different types of characters, and I hate that because I usually it's characters we've already met. It would have it should have been Winston Churchill and the lesbian Silurian, and we already got that with last season. Didn't they bring everyone back? The pirates and all. Was that last season?
Yeah, that was
okay.
A good man goes to war.
I hate that because you're bringing all those characters back, and it's almost like a special, like a variety show special. Like, well, here's a sum up of everything, and it's I don't like that. I'd rather have a really solid story and not deal with stuff like that. But in this case, it was all new characters that we met up with. And it's always the same thing. It's the girl is always going to fall for someone. What was she, a queen of...
Yeah, Queen of Haridi.
And, I mean, they're always acting like... all the women in the show act the same. They're always overly sexually charged, always willing to flirt with a man and go out with someone. And it's just odd to me because, I mean, she's like, already interested in the guy, or maybe she wasn't, I don't remember, but it just seems like they're all caricatures of each other, and I just found it, those characters I had no interest in whatsoever. I didn't care they were there or not, but...
Or maybe they shouldn't have been. Maybe it would have been a better story if it was more focused on the Doctor and...
And then Amy and Rory, they did that thing again where they broke them up.
Right.
And they had to prove themselves again.
That didn't feel right.
The whole episode didn't feel right. It just seemed like it was so
That
weird.
part of it, especially.
In the
Was
story.
that in Asylum or was that in...
Oh, don't forget the
where
two
they were trying to get back
robots.
together again?
The two robots too. They're
Oh, the two funny robots.
Oh, that was...
gotta
that
have the
was,
funny robots. I mean, it was.
Yeah, that
Well,
was,
I remember someone
that's kind of a
saying...
mess.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
someone said that those were like Douglas Adams type characters and stuff. And
Well, so what?
well, yeah,
It doesn't mean they're effective.
I know, and that's fine. But if you have all the other, the way it works is if they were the funny part of the episode, and the quirky part of the episode, and the rest of it was all serious, and then it would have stood out as being better, I think. But when you put it in with everything else, it was just like you said, a mess. It just didn't work out, and
Like
Although, I love the title of the episode.
yeah,
That was the best, maybe the best part of it.
yeah.
that and the ending credits
Yeah.
What's the ending credits?
because it was over.
Oh. And I mean, and they also, it's a gimmick title because, well, although it was Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, and it's supposed to attract your attention, and it certainly did, because right away we were like, that was the one episode, and I signed on with Daleks, all obviously because the Daleks are in it, but Dalek stories hadn't been that good recently, or had been.
There's just been too many of them.
Yeah, and so then all of a sudden we get Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, and it's like, my first thought was, oh, what? How can they do that? And then I was like, oh, great. Are there going to be dinosaurs like from wasn't there a TV show called Dinosaurs where they're like, hey, you know, they'll be driving and talking and stuff, and I thought maybe it was going to be real, like, dinosaur aliens or
Well,
something.
you had that one Triceratops that liked the
the ball that
Rory's
kept...
dad's
was it a-
golf balls.
And the golf ball that bounced forever. It was just going on and on and on, but whatever. Yeah, okay, so that one was,
A low point?
maybe it was supposed to be bad, I don't know.
Well, wasn't
It
supposed
was
to be
by
bad.
Chris
Well,
Chibnall, so there you go.
But
So-
there's just too much going on. Like you didn't care about these characters, some of them, because they just jumped in and were immediate stereotypes.
Yeah.
I was rooting for the dinosaurs to kill them all.
Yeah, maybe that would have been better. What if the dinosaur had killed the queen, or the big game hunter had laid down his life to save her, or something? That would have even been better.
Yeah.
Let's get rewrite. in
Especially if it happened very quickly, like, oh, nice to meet you.
here. Yeah.
But, anyway. Okay, Town Called Mercy.
That was decent.
It was.
But I like westerns anyway, and it was kind of cool that they had a western one to take your mind off the gunfighters.
I don't know, I still like Gunfighters better than this one. No,
Even with the song.
yeah. Yeah, I listened to that on the way to work. I like this story. It was okay. I mean, it
It wasn't the greatest, it wasn't the worst, but it was a decent middle of the put in the middle of a season where it was like an adventure, bad guy needs to be stopped type deal.
I don't remember why I didn't like it that much, but I thought the whole idea of it was questioning the Doctor and his decisions and his travel down to the darkness or whatever, and maybe that was the important part, the most important part. I thought Amy was Karen Gillan had been phoning in this whole season. I thought she was kind of out of it, almost like she didn't really belong there. She was. I've never been a big fan of her acting, except when she did something other than just act like, "Hey, I'm cool." But in the episode, The Girl Who Waited, she was incredible. And this one, she finally had a little bit of acting where she kind of, like, I was almost like, oh, I forgot she was even in this season, because in the past, well, she did the whole, oh, Rory, I love you, but we had seen that before, so I was kind of sick about
Yeah, we
that.
see it every week.
But but I thought she did good in this one. So I thought that was pretty good.
I liked it.
I really like the cyborg and his reasoning, and it wasn't bad.
The next story, Power of Three.
Total crap.
I'm having a hard time remembering that one. I don't know
It's
why.
the one where was it cubes?
Yeah, I'm still having a hard time remembering.
Yeah, well,
And they
There's a cubes of the to like take over the world.
yeah,
Okay,
Brian
okay.
is in charge of watching the cubes and whatever. And,
Oh, okay.
and it spans the first part of the episode that you see them in a year in their life wasn't bad, and then all of a sudden the cubes do something. And then all of a sudden just realized, oh wait, we need a bad guy, and we need to come up with a conclusion of why there's these cubes. And then that's the one where he takes the sonic screwdriver and goes zap the spaceship. Okay, crisis averted. You know.
well, yeah. I mean,
And I was
the
like,
build-up of it when Russell T Davies was horrible at this, and Moffat generally has been good, except this is an example of it being bad. Who wrote? Do we know who wrote this
Chris
one?
Chibnall.
Okay, well, congratulations, Chris. You're doing a really good job. So the build-up of it was incredible because you're bringing you're like. I'm sure that they're selling those cubes now for $20, and everyone's buying them in England because, great, we're part of the episode. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring everyone into the episode, and so
It's all like a marketing, marketing episode.
the build up is a whole year, and so even though we weren't watching it for a whole year, it seemed like it, but you're looking at it going, this has got to be unbelievable because. There were other, like, a lot of the Torchwood stories are bigger. They have bigger build-ups, and every kid is being taken over, or people are not dying. It's on a grand scale. So this is kind of like on a grand scale. So you're like, this has got to be pretty big. And then the result was, what were the cubes learning how to kill people or something?
Did they even do anything?
They started killing people. They gave someone a heart attack, right?
I think so. Yeah,
And-
they were learning your weaknesses or your health problems, and that's what. Yeah.
Couldn't it? I mean, wouldn't it have been a lot easier for the bad guy to go down to a doctor and say, "How do you kill someone?" Oh well, the heart. Okay, thank you. Well, I mean,
Like just
unless he wasn't in a
Google it.
hurry. I mean, he wasn't in a hurry to do anything, so maybe he was just like, I'm going to take a nap for a year, and I'll send these cubes down to do my job. It just seemed kind of like, what? I don't understand that. And
the conclusion was a big letdown because all he did was use the sonic screwdriver and wave it in front of the computer.
And that gets back to, when it comes down to it, they don't care how the stories end. Especially Russell T Davies. He wants the substance to be there at the
Russell
beginning.
wasn't this bad.
Yeah, he was.
No.
Donna just pushing a couple buttons and stopping a whole Dalek fleet, that's the same thing. Even in the first season, it's like, oh, I'm going to make everyone alive again or whatever. And it just was, it's convenient ways of concluding a story that they dig themselves into a hole. How are they going to get out of this? Doesn't matter. Everyone's going to be so wrapped up into getting that when we get out of it, everyone's just going to go, yay! Oh, the Doctor turns into a Jesus Christ character and saves everyone because everyone's praying for them. Yay! And you're like...
At least it's a better solution than waving the sonic screwdriver from the computer.
But they've done the sonic screwdriver before. And the classic series probably did that on occasion, but it's not an important part of their element for the series. They don't care. Russell T Davies didn't care. Moffat, I think, cares, but for some reason he let this go in this story where...
Just like a throwaway episode?
Yeah, I don't know what was the purpose of it. I mean...
It was just...
I mean, there's elements in it. They tried to develop Rory and Amy some more, and the father.
They tried to make this an epic episode, and it just didn't feel
Well,
that
the
way.
problem is, all the stupid fans nowadays, every new episode that comes out is the greatest one ever. They never find anything wrong with it. They love it to death. They think it's the greatest thing, and as you look at it, and I think it's what's making the writers lazy, because they know they can just go through the motions because it's the newer fans just, that's the greatest episode ever. They were riding a dinosaur. Wow. Or there were black cubes all over the planet. Wow. And he took the sonic screwdriver out and went, woo, and he saved the day he used the sonic screwdriver, which I have.
That was Jeff Zyra talking about stupid fans, by the way. So, any comments? gear them toward him.
Yeah, we'll give his email address later.
Yeah, and his home number.
Well, it's true.
Anyways, okay, so any more about that one?
No,
it just sucked.
it aimed for something and it just failed to reach.
Hopefully, he's not writing any more for the series.
You know, like it almost could have been a story arc. He introduced them and they just appear in several episodes off and on, and then at some point they become.
Or they could just have someone else write a better episode.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, if you got an episode that's supposed to take place over a year, you compress it into an hour. Already, you've got problems.
It was also the one. That was also the one that had the brigadier's daughter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think if it had been a story arc and thought out a little better, where they just kind of appeared in several episodes along the way, and then built up to its own episode.
Well, it could have been the umbrella theme of the whole
Right.
season, where
Right.
maybe the first couple episodes you notice the cubes kicking around and you go, well, what's that? And
Yeah,
then
like
later
when
on,
Amy at the beginning of Silent Dogs when Rory was going to wherever she was having the photo shoot, you could have seen a couple cubes there, and then the next one when they pick them up again, you could have seen more cubes. And
It's like when we kept seeing the bad wolf message, and it just kind of hints at things, and that's sort of what this was, but they just put it all in one episode, and it just didn't work.
yeah. And they would have to have changed the ending. They couldn't build up that much. That would have been
Right.
even bigger
Well,
build up.
eventually you'd give it its own episode, but
Yeah.
just, hey, look at these cubes. Where they come from? Oh, who cares? They're not bothering anybody. And then suddenly things start happening. You have an episode where a character just collapses, has a heart attack and collapses. You don't think anything about it, and
Yeah.
more of a gradual build up.
then you go to the spaceship with a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, then they could ride them around the spaceship.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, you can have dinosaurs and
At the end, you would have to have the Egyptian queen, the dinosaurs, the hunter, the lesbian
Solarian
I mean, put them all together and have like a big
Party?
party.
the pirates.
They're all riding the dinosaurs around.
It would be great.
World War
Actually,
II airplane.
We're thinking about it too much, but it would have been great if like one of those characters somehow was tied into the cubes and was behind it all.
What characters?
Anyone, any one of those like
Winston
secondary
Churchill.
Well, any of these secondary. You could have. I guess the point is you could have done so much more with this.
Yeah. So the final episode is the one that makes me really mad, but that was the Angels Take Manhattan.
No, how do you rate these? Like ones that make you mad, ones that make you really mad?
Well, I get angry watching this show because I get angry because it doesn't. It's like sometimes it misses by a little bit. It's like they're aiming with a bow and arrow, and it just goes off in a totally different direction. It's
I was
like,
just
why
glad
don't you
that
just sit still?
River had a back seat role, and she wasn't as annoying as she normally is.
Hello, sweetie.
I said early on there was a rumor that the Statue of Liberty was going to be one
Yeah,
of the
you
Angels,
did.
and if I said that had happened, I was going to stop watching this show forever. And they did it. What?
But the
Why?
Statue
Why?
of Liberty isn't made out of stone; it's made out of metal.
That's true.
And the Weeping Angels statues have been stone.
That's a good point.
That's interesting.
It's
I'm
made out
sure
of-
they're going to address that in a later episode
made out
where
of-
reality has
It's
changed.
made out of zinc and
Copper.
copper. It's not even stone.
But it's cool. It was a cool scene.
Yeah, and it's not.
That's what's
it's on
important.
T-shirts now and all that.
Is it?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So that's one of the.
That was the only part of the episode I hated was the Statue of Liberty because I thought it was so stupid.
They just went overboard. They just how can
And how would people
how
in
can we
New York
make it
City
bigger? How can we make this
Not
threat
notice
bigger and
watching the Statue
Right.
of Liberty walking through the bay, coming ashore in Manhattan and appearing near Grand Central Station.
It was late at night. No one was up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but you can hear the damn thing.
It's New York. They never sleeps. Right? City that never sleeps.
Oh, that's just King Kong.
Yeah, but it's just it's an episode where they needed someone to rein them in a little bit when it comes as far as using the Statue of Liberty.
But that was dumb. It was no need to do it. They could just use the regular angels.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I mean. When someone says, "Hey, let's make the Statue of Liberty a weeping angel," someone else says, "No, time out. No, that's a bad idea. Let's just stick with the weeping
Apparently,
angels."
they didn't do their homework and realize, hey, it's not stone, it's metal.
Well, and if I'm in the meeting with that, I would say, well, people don't care.
Oh yeah, they could dismiss that easily enough.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
they don't know enough about it. I mean, who would know that it was? I mean, it looks
Jeff's
like
the only one who knows that, so let's go
Well,
back
that's
with
true.
it.
But none of the Doctor Who fans, because they're all from England,
Well,
and
they're
they don't.
all going to accept it too. I mean,
They all don't
because
care.
they're going to say, "Ooh, it's the Statue of Liberty. This is great," without stopping to think about it a little bit.
And I didn't either. I didn't think of that either.
let's just hope there weren't any people inside of it going on a tour when they decided to walk
Go
off
for a ride.
Liberty Island there. Well, otherwise, I thought this other getting back to the story. I thought the story was actually pretty good.
Oh, I liked the
I
story.
kind of liked what happened to them. Them going back to the past and living out their lives.
Oh, like meeting themselves and the old man and.
That part I liked. And I liked
Yeah.
that River was pushed to the background and wasn't as annoying as she normally is. And
Well,
I liked what happened to them, where they got swooshed back into time. The Doctor couldn't do anything about it.
yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good episode.
You just got through saying you hated it.
I didn't hate it.
It made you mad. That's what it was.
Well, it made me mad. Well, I'll tell you why it made me mad in a few minutes. But
Okay.
so, anyways, I thought it was a pretty good episode, and I thought it reminded me more of Moffat's golden age when he used to write for Russell T Davies.
When he was good.
When Moffat was good, and the Angel stories have all been pretty strong for the
Yeah.
most part. What made me mad was people who have accepted Doctor Who for the last several years and have loved every single episode had a problem with this episode. I'm like, why now are you making comment about an episode that I thought was one of the better ones from the last 2 or 3 years? And that's what made me mad. And I don't remember. I usually keep track of what the fans liked. And I think it's well liked, but people had problems with. Wait a minute, why is Amy Rory off limits now? Why can't they be? Because they've never done that in the past. Why is it now? And maybe there is something to that. Maybe it's kind of a convenient. I mean, it made sense to me at the time, but they've never done that in the past. Where if you write something down, it's now part of history or whatever. Why all of a sudden are they playing that card?
Yeah, the whole fixed point in time thing kind of confuses me sometimes.
Yeah. And that's the end of part 1 about our discussion about Doctor Who Season 7. If you want to hear more, we're going to be talking about the 50th anniversary for a few minutes at another section. And then in the future, we will look at the rest of Season 7. Please visit us at kotwg.blogspot.com for more information. Thank you.